Hey guys, Mike here. So today, I'm here to talk to you about Love and Monsters. In this review, I'll be going over a brief summary of the plot, my quick thoughts about the film, and whether or not you guys should go and see it. So I'm going to try and keep this review spoiler-free. However, if you don't know anything about the film and you want to go in completely blind, then it's just come back to this video once you've seen the film. So with that, let's get started, shall we?
Oh, that was awesome. Oh, I feel like Tom Cruise.
So Love and Monsters stars Dylan O'Brien as Joel. In Love and Monsters, in a monster-infested world, Joel learns that his girlfriend is just 80 miles away, so he leaves the safety of his bunker to go across the wasteland to try and find her. And so we have Love and Monsters. So guys, going into this one, I didn't really know anything about it. Didn't know it was in it, didn't know what it was about. All I knew was really just the title. And I heard about this one like about a week or so before I actually went to watch it. But it never really kind of caught my eye. I looked at the poster and I thought, nah, I might get round to that. But then I was watching this video on YouTube where this person was talking about the movie and they said that it had a good critical score and a good audience score as well. So I turned off the video and thought, you know what? Alright, I'll give this movie a watch. I mean, if people like it, I reckon, it's worth giving it a go. And with that, I went to watch Love and Monsters. So, what do I think of Love and Monsters? Well, I gotta admit, I did get a bit worried about the film towards the beginning when it kind of just started off with about, 2 to 5 minutes of just blatant exposition. I know movies kind of have to do this, where they kind of have to introduce you into their world, tell you what the stakes, the rules, what's actually going on, the history, things like that. But to be honest, where the movie actually starts from, I think it would have been perfectly fine just not having that expositional bit at the start. But to be honest, it tells you what you're dealing with, what's going to happen, so yeah, it's not exactly too much of a big problem. And Dylan O'Brien is pretty good in this film. He has some great emotional moments, he's got good comedic chops. And as a whole, while the character isn't exactly the most unique of characters, he's definitely engaging enough to get you pretty much from point A to point B for the whole story. His character growth feels genuine and earned, and, it just made the film quite enjoyable to watch. But something else that was really good about this film is that normally, in these kind of post-apocalyptic worlds, every single person you meet is just an absolute scumbag. Just kind of like the worst people you can meet, and more often than not, in these situations, the protagonist would tend to stay away from people. He might meet the odd 1 or 2 people or a group who are on his side or whatever, but for the most part, everyone's an enemy. Whereas in this film, he doesn't meet that many people, but pretty much everyone he meets were all just, really nice. And each of them brought just so much to the story. Probably the best one, though, is Boy the dog. Now, you can't go wrong with having a dog in your movie. As long as it's not a small, annoying little yappy thing, then you're pretty much in for a good time with having a dog sidekick. But I gotta admit that there were just so many scenes in this film where I thought it was gonna I Am Legend me. Every time the dog was in danger, I was just like, oh god, no, don't do it to the dog. And that was something I both loved and hated. But obviously it does lean more towards love. Because with these films, more often than not, you don't really care if people live or die, because more often than not, their characters are really underdeveloped or they're just downright unlikable. But me, I'm a sucker for a dog. You put a dog in danger, I'm literally on the edge of my seat. And as well, along with pretty much knowing nothing about this film, I didn't really know who was in it. And I was pleasantly surprised to find that Michael Rooker was in this film. Now, Michael Rooker may not be the best actor in the world, but he's not terrible either. But I would say that every time I see him in a film, it always does get a little bit better. Whether he's playing a good guy, a bad guy, or an absolute downright scumbag, he's always got this kind of charming personality where you kind of gravitate towards him. And this character is no exception, though thankfully he's not a scumbag. In fact, he's one of the people who really helps Joel survive the wasteland. So definitely a very integral character. And then as well, another character, because in a post-apocalyptic world, why not have robots? So it kind of begs the question, did this movie start in our present day, or was it a little bit ahead in the future? I didn't really know. I didn't really look up or remember if they said a specific year when this actual event started. But it doesn't really bog the movie down. It just had robots in it. Well, I say robots, it's more like robots, singular. And while the scene was comedic, I found that this scene also had one of the most touching and heartfelt scenes as well. Just the way this particular scene ends, just really good. Definitely one of the highlights of the film. And then pretty much the rest of the film, the CGI was really good, the monster designs were really interesting, it was quite funny, it was decently action-packed, the choreography, what little fight choreography was in this film, was comprehensible. Now really, there's probably only like 1, maybe 2 fight scenes in this film, but I was surprised of how well it was put together. I mean, it just went to show that both the people involved within the scene just knew what they were doing and they didn't really have to hide it with any fancy quick cuts or anything like that. Now, this next thing I'm going to say is a little bit of a spoiler, but in any case, There's this scene in the film where Joel pulls out the map that he's been carrying and he flips it over and he sees that everyone inside his bunker had written, heartfelt messages like saying oh, I hope you get there, can't wait to see you again. And it's in this moment he realizes that these people he spent like 7 odd years with are his true family and they're the ones who really love him. But to be honest, until that scene, I didn't really get that impression. Don't get me wrong, I didn't think that they hated him or anything like that, but it didn't really put across the fact that they loved him. It was more the fact it seemed like they all kind of just tolerated each other, and they also liked each other as well, but I wouldn't have gone so far as to say that any of them loved each other or anything like that. I don't know, it didn't derail the movie or anything like that. It's just something I didn't quite buy into. Overall, guys, Love and Monsters was very enjoyable. I wouldn't say it's an absolutely groundbreaking movie that's gonna, set new box office records, whenever box office records will come back. The characters aren't anything you haven't seen before, and this particular saying isn't anything we haven't seen before. But to be honest, the way it's all put together, the way it's presented, and the fact that it's just a nice, light-hearted look at a post-apocalyptic world just made it a really enjoyable experience. But now, as for whether or not you guys should go and see it, I would definitely recommend that you guys should check this one out. I didn't really have the biggest of expectations for this film, but having said that, I would say that my little expectations for the film were definitely exceeded. Action-packed, funny, good CGI, all-round, really enjoyable film, which I think you should just give it a watch. Okay guys, that's my review of Love and Monsters. If you've seen it, what did you think about it? And what's your favourite post-apocalyptic world in a film? Whatever it is, drop it in the comments below. Until next time, I've been Michael. See ya!